Today is Friday, October 25th. What to know about the White House urging U.S. agencies to take advantage of AI ASAP. And we'll take you to the campaign trail, which big-name celebrities are turning out for both presidential candidates. Also, why President Biden is making a historic apology. Plus, how other fast food chains are taking action now after an E. coli outbreak was linked to McDonald's. All about one of the most anticipated World Series in years that starts tonight. And we'll tell you the top trending Halloween costume in 2024. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, the White House says the U.S. must move quickly to take advantage of artificial intelligence systems to keep an edge over U.S. rivals and boost national security. In the first national security memo to detail how the U.S. should handle and use AI systems, the White House urged the Pentagon, intelligence agencies, and AI developers to expand their use of AI and to do it faster and more extensively than America's adversaries. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned the failure of the U.S. to deploy AI in this way could put the nation at risk, erasing strides America has made over decades. Another senior official said it could lead to a strategic surprise from a country like China. Officials pointed specifically to cybersecurity and counterintelligence. That said, the memo does establish some guardrails for AI, including guidance on how the military and other agencies can prevent AI from being irresponsibly used to cause harm. And it comes after President Biden's executive order last year that focused on areas like safety, privacy, and protecting innovation. That order launched the AI Safety Institute, and this new memo will now serve as a framework for action moving forward. Reports say to expect new investments in defense-related artificial intelligence. All of that said, most of the deadlines this order sets for agencies will go into full effect after Biden leaves office. So TBD if the next president will follow suit. Well, both presidential candidates are turning to big names and places to garner attention and capture votes. Reports say Beyoncé and Willie Nelson will perform at a rally for Vice President Kamala Harris today in Houston, Texas. And yesterday, Bruce Springsteen performed at a rally for Harris in Atlanta, Georgia. Former President Barack Obama was also at last night's rally, the first time Obama and Harris appeared together on the campaign trail. Harris has also had artists like Stevie Wonder, Lizzo, Usher, Eminem, and more playing a role at rallies in the last week. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is planning to sit down today with the popular podcast host Joe Rogan, though it's not actually an endorsement, but an interview. It's not clear yet when the episode will air, but possibly as soon as this weekend. Also, public support at rallies in the last week for Trump has come from former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson, singer Lee Greenwood, former NFL player Antonio Brown, and more. Last night, former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as well as Dr. Phil McGraw, hosted a campaign event for Trump in Pennsylvania, while Trump held rallies in Tempe, Arizona, and Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, this weekend, Trump is set to campaign at one of the most well-known venues in the world, Madison Square Garden in New York. We are just a week and a half away from Election Day now, though a reported 28 million Americans have already cast their ballots. The owner and operator of the ship that crashed into a Baltimore bridge earlier this year has agreed to pay a more than $100 million settlement. Remember, the Dolly cargo ship hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge in March, causing it to collapse and killing 6 workers. It also forced a temporary shutdown of one of the country's busiest ports. Well, now this settlement will cover the cost of the federal government's response and cleanup. The agreement comes just a month after the Justice Department sued the 2 corporations out of Singapore, the ship's owner, as well as the company that managed it. In the lawsuit, the DOJ alleged the companies ignored safety issues that ultimately led to the ship losing power and crashing into the bridge. Now, keep in mind, this settlement does not mean the end of legal woes for the ship's owner and operator. The FBI opened a criminal investigation into the incident earlier this year, and the state of Maryland has also filed its own lawsuit. Today, President Biden is expected to make a formal and historic apology. He'll apologize for the U.S. government's role in running hundreds of Indian boarding schools that pulled Native American children from their homes and communities and stripped them of their language and culture in an effort to force them to assimilate into white society. And these boarding schools existed for 150 years, from 1819 to 1969, across 37 states. And there's documented abuse and mistreatment the entire time. Earlier this year, we told you the U.S. government accounted for its role in creating the system for the first time. And now, today's apology in Arizona will mark the first formal acknowledgement and apology by a U.S. president. The Biden administration announced tough new limits to ensure dust from lead-based paint is no longer in homes and childcare facilities. Under the new rules, any detectable level of lead dust in the building would be considered a lead hazard, and the property owner would be required to pay for the cleanup. Of course, lead is a neurotoxin, and exposure can damage brains and nervous systems, and that's especially true in young children. Lead-based paint for homes was banned in 1978, but the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, still estimates about 31 million dwellings built before then are impacted, potentially exposing millions of young children. EPA officials expect the stricter rule now to increase the number of facilities that need upgrades. And some property and business owners are worried about the cleanup costs. This stricter rule on dust from lead-based paint comes just 2 weeks now after the Biden administration set a deadline for the removal of all lead pipes in the U.S. as well. More news still ahead, but first, a quick break. This episode of The Newsworthy is brought to you by Wildgrain. This time of year is so great for baking and making delicious, hearty meals. But sometimes I just don't have the time or the energy. And that's why this fall, we've been treating ourselves to Wildgrain's fresh bake from frozen sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. And right now, they even have yummy, limited-time, seasonal items. Think apple cider donuts from Wildgrain. I can't believe the quality of all of these items, in addition to how easy they are to make. I'm talking bake from frozen, no hassle, in just 25 minutes or less. Our family has enjoyed a beautiful sourdough loaf that we put out for guests who also oohed and awed over it. We've had large, flaky, delicious croissants, slow-fermented brioche rolls, fresh fettuccine, and more. But you choose what you want. Wildgrain's boxes are fully customizable. You can even choose their new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? For a limited time, Wildgrain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/newsworthy to start your subscription. That's wildgrain.com/newsworthy, and you can use the promo code newsworthy at checkout. Okay, now back to the news. The CDC put out a new recommendation for some people to get a second dose of the COVID vaccine this year. The agency expanded its guidelines this week to recommend people over 65 years old and the immunocompromised to get another shot, at least 6 months after the first one. The CDC added that immunocompromised people could even receive 3 or 4 doses, but they should consult with their healthcare provider about doing that. Not everyone wants more doses of the COVID vaccine, though. Only about 12% of adults so far had received the updated COVID vaccine as of October 12th. Still, the CDC continues to recommend all Americans aged 6 months and older get the most updated COVID vaccine to help protect against hospitalization and long COVID, as well as help avoid another surge of cases this fall and winter. We have a quick update for you about that E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's that made dozens of people sick. McDonald's identified onions as the E. coli source and said they came from Taylor Farms, a California producer that supplies onions to some other fast food chains too. Though to be clear, no third party has confirmed this was the source, and Taylor Farms has not yet commented. But now other fast food chains in Colorado, where most of the illnesses have occurred, are taking action. Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, and Illegal Pete's locations in the state of Colorado have removed raw onions from their restaurants, saying it's out of an abundance of caution because no one has actually reported getting sick there. As we told you earlier this week, McDonald's removed quarter pounders from many of its locations after 49 people got sick with E. coli, most of them there in Colorado. 1 person died and 10 people have been hospitalized. The FDA is investigating. All right, it's one of the most anticipated World Series in years. 2 of baseball's most famous franchises from the country's 2 biggest cities start their best-of-7 series tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers host the New York Yankees for Game 1 of the Fall Classic. It will be the 12th time the teams have played each other in the World Series, but the first time they've met since 1981, a series the Dodgers won. The Dodgers have made the final round of baseball's playoffs 4 times since 2017, but their only win came in the COVID-shortened 2020 season. The Yankees have a longer drought going. They haven't won a title since 2009. Both teams have 2 of the highest payrolls in baseball and some of the league's biggest stars. MVP candidate Shohei Ohtani leads the Dodgers, while regular season home run champ Aaron Judge is the centerpiece of the Yankees. And as you might expect with a highly anticipated series, tickets are some of the most expensive in history, too. Single tickets are going for well over $1,000 on the secondary market. You can watch the game on Fox. The first pitch is just after 8 p.m. Eastern. With Halloween right around the corner, what are this year's most popular costumes? Google has been tracking what's trending. The tech giant released a list of the top 25 costumes based on search trends. Number 1 on the list? Bob, a shrunken-headed ghost from the recent Beetlejuice sequel. Right behind Bob is Raygun, the viral Australian breakdancer who made headlines for her 0-point Olympic performance. Also on the top 25 are several characters from the Pixar movie Inside Out 2, pop star Sabrina Carpenter, and Lady Deadpool from the blockbuster movie Deadpool vs. Wolverine. And since it's approaching that time of year for rankings, the list of the most popular baby names in 2024 is out from Baby Center. All the newborn Olivias and Noahs are most likely to meet another kid with the same name in kindergarten. It's the second year in a row those names have topped the list. After Olivia, the most popular for girls was Amelia, then Emma, and for boys after Noah is Liam and Oliver. Baby Center said names for boys are trending up, and girl names ending in Lee or Lynn are also on the rise. And for the first time in more than 60 years, Sarah is no longer on the top 100 names for girls. All that said, most of the top names remained relatively unchanged since last year. The 7 most popular boys' names are actually the exact same as last year, with minor shuffling in the girls' top 10. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor. I've been getting more and more from the Skims Soft Lounge collection because every piece is the perfect combination of style and comfort with the softest, coziest fabrics. I love all the matching sets, from the Soft Lounge sleep set to my Soft Lounge tank and fold-over pant. There's just something about matching sets that makes me feel so put together with very little effort. And speaking of a great look with little effort, one of my favorite items is my Soft Lounge long slip dress. It really is the best one-and-done outfit that I can wear all year long, either on its own when it's warm outside, or I throw on a sweater jacket over it and I'm good to go, feeling stylish and comfortable, even when the weather turns cooler. I've gotten so many compliments on this and people wanting to know where it's from, and I happily tell them Skims. So shop the Skims Soft Lounge collection at skims.com. Now available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know I sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select the newsworthy in the drop-down menu that follows. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. So most playgrounds in the world are designed by adults, but maybe the kids who use them should have more of a say. 11-year-old Utah resident Rosalie Olson took this idea and ran with it when she realized the playground near her house was not ideal for some of her younger sisters. Out came her crayons, and she got to work designing an alternative. When her mom saw the designs, she decided to call City Hall and ask if city officials would at least take a look at them. They agreed. And as it turned out, money for a new playground had already been included in the town's budget. Yet, no official designs had been approved. Officials met with Rosalie 4 to 5 times over the next year, working on plans for the new playground. And last month, her original crayon drawing became a reality. Rosalie and her family attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the playground she helped design. Well, thank you so much for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking about media literacy, from how to ensure you're getting accurate information online to how AI is affecting the news, to staying skeptical without being a cynic, and more. Then we'll be back to catch you up on more news to know on Monday. For now, have a great weekend.